New York, and on the new Hot 97 app. Ebro in the morning on Hot 97.
Ebro in the morning, beautiful Laura Styles, Rosenberg, Stretch, and Bobbito. Stretch and Bob. Some of the original architects of this here Hot 97 logo and its credibility within the hip-hop game.
Wow, thank you.
Well,
that might be more.
Time goes by, and I guess you could look at it like that.
No, seriously, I think people, if they don't know, now they know, and if they do know, I think people who know Hot 97 definitely credit you guys in those '90s era. Look, there was a sound that you guys brought to hip hop that you gave a place. Mm-hmm. You don't agree? Am I reaching or something?
No. 100%.
Bob, you're looking at me like
I know what they think you're reaching.
Technically, Hot 97 opened in '93, right?
Right.
And prior to that, it was like a dance station.
That's right.
We came in '96.
That's
so,
right.
Flex and all the Ad Love of Dr. Dre, they really created the foundation.
I said
for
part of.
Yeah, but when we came in, we
like
brought another layer.
like the appendix of Hot 97. Like it was there, we were there, but like you had to get rid of it.
But there was a sound that you guys
we got inflamed.
There was a sound that you guys brought to the radio that Flex was playing these underground records too, but you guys were a college radio squad that brought a certain sound to the box. That was
But it was also the beginning of the end sort of for you guys too, right? The Hot 97 dynamic.
Wow, we're already going there.
Yeah. Commercial Stretch. We don't. This Stretch started doing.
This is a clickbait.
Yeah. By the way, this
Hot
is really
97 ended Stretch and Bob's career. There's the headline. You got it. It's Hot 97.
No, but it was part of. You got to see the documentary's out. There's a full movie about the whole story.
No doubt.
Which was great.
Thank you, Laura.
It was awesome.
We
It was
did
great.
2 radio shows, one on WKCR and one at Hot, and Hot was problematic and coincided at a time when things were changing in music and in our relationship. Simple as that. But I got good memories of being in here. A lot of fun times.
How many years was the show?
Too.
The run at Hot? How long was the?
We started February '96 and ended December '98. So good.
But I kept going.
years.
But I kept going to 200001.
Right, you stayed on as a mix show DJ.
Are you impressed that the studio still looks the same?
What do you think?
These are heavy pieces of equipment. You can't just chop them out.
Well, they've been restored. I'm lying. And, you know what I'm saying? This is like vintage. You know what I'm saying? We take care of it. This is like antique now at this point.
Actually, well, when we first started on Hot, it wasn't at 395.
No, it was over on Barry.
That's right.
Yeah, no, it was uptown.
Yeah.
We did a show with Angie Martinez. What was that? The 8 p.m. The B-side. We did a show with Angie B-side.
Oh, wow.
We would preview unreleased albums, prime time. And then we also hosted the January 1st, 1997 morning show because Ed Lover and Dr. Dre couldn't do it. So we had a good 2 years at Hot. Tracy and the whole, what was homeboy with the Van Halen?
Steve Smith.
Steve, yeah.
It was more Twisted Sister.
Sammy Hagar.
Sammy Hagar. Yeah.
Yeah, they showed us mad love. They brought us up. So
I don't know. It's an interesting take on
why.
I feel like there wasn't really a lot of love. It was like, we kind of got to put these guys on because they're making a lot of noise, but we'll put them on at midnight on Sundays and just let them do their thing.
Oh, so you felt at the time,
I
or
didn't
just
feel
looking back?
That's how it was. We weren't really promoted during the day. There really wasn't an opening for us to kind of ascend.
It wasn't like Rosenberg who does this. You do Sunday Night Now.
Yeah, but I sort of feel like them too.
It's
but
kinda
I happen to have
the
this
same
also.
But that's what I was going to say.
There's a big difference. But no,
something
don't get me wrong. So Bob just mentioned that we did the morning show. Like we did it, and we were like, wow, that's just not for us. Like
Right.
that was just. I mean, it was funny the way we did it because
we did us, but it
I'll
was
send
clear
you
like when they would give
recording.
us
It's funny as hell.
when they
I'm
would
gonna
give
hear
us these alley oops to be like, hey, like you guys, we could groom you for something else.
You want to lean into this mainstream life.
We were just so out of pocket. It was just kind because we wouldn't.
We wouldn't treat it seriously,
Right.
Yeah. We always
all.
would make fun of it.
Yeah.
Now, Bob,
Yes,
you guys have a new album.
we do.
What's
Yes.
the name of this new album?
No Request.
Which we'll get into that as far as DJ speak.
But what a
because
perfect title for your guys'
I love
album.
that.
It's fantastic.
Please
Thank
don't
you.
ever request a song from either of these two dudes. while
or
they're
from
DJing.
or from really any
Anybody.
DJ. Just,
No, there's
just
some
stop.
DJs that encourage requests.
Who?
Wedding
Every
DJs.
I
That's
know
why I
is
don't do
wedding
weddings.
DJs. Like, there's
No,
I'm
okay.
not saying
We're
it's
talking
like
about. Look,
Yeah,
we're talking
No,
about.
no knock against them. It's all
Yeah.
good. That's
But
the
you-
hustle.
bar mitzvah DJs.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
all
what do you want to
good.
hear?
100%.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, and like
I didn't know
strip
that was under the umbrella of the
Of DJ?
conversation of
Of this combo. Oh, no, I'm just talking about DJs.
strip club DJs
Hey, how
want some
about
money.
radio guys all the time? 800-223-9797. What do you want to hear?
Right, that's
Happens all the time. But
never did that one.
We still don't.
But Bob,
I feel
putting out music, getting to this point for you, I don't know about for you, Stretch, but for you, we talked a few years ago. You weren't really in the I want to put out music space a few years ago.
Well, I mean, as a producer, it took me 30 years to get to this point, right? And now, I've stepped into that role and, comfortably with the person I probably could achieve that status best with, which was Stretch. I had the offer to do an album on Eddie Palmieri's record label, Uprising, because I had worked with him on my first film. We did original score. The title was Doing It in the Park, Pick Up Basketball, NYC. Eddie Palmieri is a 10-time Grammy Award winner, National Endowment of the Arts, jazz master, Latin music legend. My rapport with him in the studio was kind of beautiful, and so his label team was like, yo, like you should produce, like you could be good at this. I had a joint for my last film, Rock Rubber 45s. The title track featured Eddie Palmieri and Robert Glasper. I got that's 13 Grammy Awards in the studio. And again, I was able to create a nice synergy between everybody and a beautiful song. So when they offered the album to me, I was like, I'd love to, but I'm a little bit over my head to do an album. Stretch, he's been producing since the 90s. I mean, some of the great freestyles from our radio show with some of his beats that people don't know. You had a couple of hits, right?
Big Momma Thang.
Yeah,
Lil Kim. Little tune.
Probably the song that would make people say, "You did that?" the most. The first song on Lil Kim's debut. Yeah, I did that. People would be like, "What?"
That's what you did. Lil Kim record, and you did CNN stuff. And
yeah, I
Tragedy.
dabbled. I never really, I never really had the belief to really go at it because all my friends were making the world's greatest beats. I was like, I don't need to be doing this.
Right.
Like,
First of all, this is new to me. I didn't know about the Kim stuff.
Really?
I did not.
Oh, wow.
But how did that come about?
Laura,
Sorry, I didn't know.
check the fine print.
This is new to me.
No,
These are your friends.
No, there's
I
double
did not
disappointment
know.
here. This story, him doing that record has been talked about by Syfe on the podcast on One App 97.
She doesn't listen to One
Sorry.
App. She only listens to
She
Carhartt Girl One
Only
App.
when she's on One App does she
Yes.
listen to One App.
Yes.
And by the way, I never listen to One App.
But all Syfe has been complaining for years because he loves that record and he makes fun of Stretch because Stretch is a DJ, but the beat count on the intro to that record is short.
But I didn't mix the record.
You didn't do that.
I didn't mix it.
Puff did the mix, right?
No. So, all right. So first of all, I want to know, Laura, what your favorite line is from that song, Big Mama Thang.
Oh, I'm not gonna. Yeah.
Come on.
There's so many lines that you
yeah.
can
I just want to hear.
Yeah, you
I
try
want
to
to hear a
set me up.
self-edit.
You try to set
not
me
do
up.
that to
You try
Laura
to
right
set me up.
No, so I did the record and you know how it was back then. It probably still is now. Like people who control budgets, they want to put their mans on and they want to get credit. They want to slide. I'll give you that, but I want a little bit of publishing. And so there's funny things going on. And I'm not saying that that's what happened here, but Craig Kalman wanted that beat on the record, so he hired me. And Un's team, Un Rivera, they weren't really that jazzed on me doing it. And then the record came out hot.
Why weren't they jazzed though? Because it was.
Maybe because it was me.
But why? But were you
'Cause
not
you're
a
white?
Kim
Because they
supporter?
wanted people that
It
were
was
signed
racial.
to the production company.
Stretch,
People-
go in with me. It was racial.
It may have been racial.
We don't
They don't like tall guys.
But yo, I love Un and Jacob York worked with Un and I'm cool with those guys. But I feel like I went into the studio. I went to Chung King with Lord Finesse and we mixed that record and it came out fire.
Right.
Like just Lord Finesse, like that dude behind the board, like that's where he belongs. And we finished the record, mixed it. I had turned
This
it
is
in,
crazy.
and
This is the first time I'm hearing this story.
Craig was like,
Wow.
"Oh no,
For 30 years.
Jacob already mixed it. It's already mastered."
Jacob York mixed it?
Yeah, I was like, "Let me hear it." I was like, "Wow!" They just pressed play and went straight to tape. No drops, no delay, no nothing. And the craziest thing was, Lil Kim's second verse. I've spoken about this on Juan Ep. In Kim's second verse, she disses Tupac and Faith, but Craig needed Puff to co-sign the project because that whole situation with Un and Biggie having a label, they needed Biggie involved, and they weren't going to get Biggie involved unless Puff signed off. So when Puff heard Kim diss Faith and Pac, he was like, nah, that verse ain't flying. So Craig hired Jay-Z to come in and do the second verse. He paid Jay $10,000 at the time, which I swear to God was like $10,000.
Who do you think this is?
That's crazy money.
And just for clarification, this is what year?
Is it 96?
I mean, it came out in 96.
Yeah. So Jay came in and his verse was 2 bars shorter than the verse by Kim that he replaced. And there was Pro Tools back then. You could have sliced those 2 bars out very easily, but nobody did. So the intro count is messed up, and there are 2 blank bars after Jay's
He finishes
verse.
and it just
It's
plays
like,
out.
Where's the chorus?
Let's wait for it. Here it comes.
No one is listening to this? What's going on?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So back to
That was a long story, right? That's a lot of
no, it was
that's a lot
beautiful.
of
But
airtime
back to our album. I invited Stretch. We had talked about doing an album together when we were touring with the film Stretch and Bobbito, Ready to Change Lives, and we created. The reason why it's called No Request is because I think most people who know us, particularly your audience, know us for like the '90s hip hop, and they would expect a '90s styled album with sample beats. We went totally against the grain and got a live band. They called the M19s, elite musicians, A to Z. We brought on Mumu Fresh, aka Mamouna Youssef, Grammy-nominated singer, rock with the Roots in Common. We got Latin Grammy Award
and MC.
and MC, no doubt. And we got a Latin Grammy Award winner, Mireya Ramos, from the all-woman mariachi band Flor de Toloache. And she plays vocal and she plays violin and she does vocals.
Yeah. She
on
takes
album,
the bow of the violin and plays it on her neck.
But we're real proud of the album. We already rocked Kennedy Center last week. We got the Gramercy Theater this Thursday.
Yo, go to the Gramercy. Listen, I feel like this album, and I've only quickly thumbed through it. I haven't lived with it yet.
No doubt.
I feel like you made this as almost like one of those things that young hip hop fans can go back to and chop up. Like that's I feel like that's happening a lot. Like Robert Glasper's doing that a lot. There's a lot of young jazz musicians that are creating these new works that are, if people are paying attention and you're a producer out there or you're chopping beats, you're looking for samples, you're looking for loops and things like that. There's a lot of new music where we're living through a real musical time right now. And I don't know if people are looking at young musicians the way they should be. Like, I know Glasper's out there getting his props. There's a young horn player, Theo Croker out there.
That's my man.
Yep.
That's my
phenomenal,
man.
put out a phenomenal
His
project.
records are crazy. His shows are bonkers.
We actually didn't we talk about having him in our band?
He actually he
plays the
came
horn
over
on
for
Cole's
dinner
last
a few
album.
weeks ago. He was like,
Oh, okay.
what's up? How come I'm not on the record?
Yeah.
I was like, that's nice, but you're doing your thing. It's
But a
all
lot
good.
of people don't know he's the horn player on Cole's last album. You know what I mean? Where people are using these instrumentations and creating original works in hip hop, which I think is important for the music aspect of the culture. Obviously, a lot of focus is on the MCs and raps and whatever. But there's a lot of young creatives in hip hop creating this new kind of sound palette for the next 20 years, where you can chop up beats and sample from. And I feel like that's kind of what you gifted on this.
Kind of. I mean, maybe if we had a dub version or instrumental, there's a lot of like these are all songs.
Yeah.
And
There's a few breaks in there though.
Oh, absolutely.
There's
But
some breaks for you to grab.
I think we
If you're doing your job. Right.
I think we envision the breaks because we're DJs, not to think like, someone is going to sample and loop our drum breaks. Although I've already had producers, Jay Si and I hit me up the other day, was like, yo, I need the drums off your album. Like, chill.
Yeah.
But we mastered it. We mixed it with thick drums. I mean, we come from hip hop, right?
That's right.
So definitely had that in mind. But I mean, if people sample it, that's beautiful.
And why didn't you lean into making a 90s kind of sounding vintage hip hop album? Why did you go against the grain, quote unquote?
Well, I mean, we have one song
Yeah.
called Anna from Woodsaw,
Let's all say it.
Beat Sweet.
You could say Anna from Woodside.
And
Anna from Woodside.
and that's the one featuring. Who's featured on that one?
Nobody.
That's our band just playing homage to like the anthems of our radio show from the 90s.
Got it.
Some of them.
Yeah.
Some of them.
Some of them, five
But
of
it comes
them.
across more like a straight ahead boom bappy record.
It's a medley. It's a medley of live reinterpretations
the intro.
of 90s hip hop instrumental anthems.
So
Yeah.
even the thing that's supposed to be straight ahead is not straight ahead. It's completely niche and artsy fartsy.
It's artsy.
Artsy Fartsy. That's the name of our next album.
Artsy fartsy. So are you Bob or Stretch, are you paying attention to the guys who are making music right now that sounds very 90s? The Griselda, Benny the Butcher, Conway, West Side Gun, even Bronson and Alchemist just put out a new project that's very, and it feels now, but and the answer, I'm looking at your faces, the answer's no.
I follow
I've
it.
tried, Bob, we've had this convo,
No,
man.
you know what?
I debated Bob on the roof of Jungle Studios one day. I was like, you gotta listen to this stuff,
He's
man.
like, no,
He's
I
like,
don't.
no, I don't. Like, they're doing a good job, man.
They are. There's a good moment right now, especially in New York. There's a lot of them. Griselda's sort of at the top of it, but there's a lot of.
And there's going to be more now that they're getting their due. They're getting their respect. They're
Word.
getting acknowledgement.
It's incredible.
M standing next to them, and they're getting. There's a lot
Hove.
there. Hove, yeah. Bob, look, I can't get.
No,
it.
no,
I
word.
can't
I
get
would-
it.
you're just.
I'm happy.
But
I'm
you're just
happy.
in a different place musically in terms of what you want to sit around
Sure.
listening to in your life.
Sure.
Yeah, listen, I think we both love it when real-ish is getting champion. That's great.
Right.
Real-
But it's also.
But I'm not, like, when I'm at home, I'm not compelled to listen to hip hop, no matter how it could be incredible. And I still have ears. Like, I listen to something like, oh, that's dope. I'm glad people are into that. But like, and I'll go home and I'll throw on like, some Studio One 7-inches from like the late '60s, and just vibe out.
Look, I do the same thing, but I do also look. I'm not one of those guys, and I honestly have never been right where I first sort to listening to hip hop. Like I've always been, I'd sort to Tony albums and Sade albums and James Brown and Earth, Wind and Fire and Stevie and Donnie. Like I was always Patrice Rushen and Denise Williams. Like I was always that. Right, even in the '90s, I was that because when I started learning more about hip hop and I got older, I fell in love with the stuff people were sampling from.
Mm-hmm.
But I still like hearing what people are doing in hip hop. Like I still enjoy it, and
Ebro, can we be a little bit fair? You have a job in which you're paid
Well, then that
handsomely,
part.
might I add, to be the face of
That part.
Apple Music.
That part, but that part too. So,
if you came in, you're like, I don't know what the fuck these cats are doing
Nah,
either.
it's just listen, I don't know what's going on. But that part too, right? And I like knowing what's happening in hip hop, and I like knowing that people are passionate about taking care of it and fighting for it, whatever their interpretation
And
of
it
it
is a
is.
good sign.
I might disagree with their interpretation sonically, what they're doing, but they give a fuck about it enough to like fight for it. And I think it's important for us as those of us that have been in the game long enough, we don't have to like it. I'm not one of those. There's shit I don't like, and I'll be vocal about it. Like, yo, that shit is trash. But we've always been like that in hip hop.
Sure.
Like I'm from there,
And we should be.
in the '90s. You would get. You could be the most popular shit ever.
What's some really popular commercial shit that you guys openly hated on your show? Because there had to. I mean, maybe you weren't anything like me, but I was hating recklessly when I was doing college radio. I smashed "Make 'Em Say" on the air, like broke the record. And I love that song.
he broke up.
I was smashing pieces of vinyl against the concrete wall on the air frequently. Yeah, I mean that whole like. Listen,
You don't have to be right. You
No,
can say
you
you
can
were
say
wrong.
you were wrong.
no, I wasn't wrong.
That's even better.
Hell yes, you were. We're all wrong, man.
A lot of those records have not aged well.
Some,
Like what-
but there have been some that have.
I'm good. I'm.
Don't
Nah,
be
I'm
that
not-
guy,
I'm
man.
No, I'm not being that
Well,
guy. I'm
hold
not even
on,
trying
I
to be
like
funny.
this.
Like,
He's sticking to his conviction. He doesn't care that they became hits that the culture took in. You thought they fucking sucked.
oh, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of records that I would have played out regularly in clubs and had fun playing them. That Bob, if he had walked in the plate, he'd be like, "Yo, what is this guy doing? This is Stretch. You all right?"
Well, Bob, were
So
you
it's
not
not-
that into the commercial, like the sort of thugged out New York shit that Stretch was playing?
Well, I love some of the beats. I didn't love all the rhymes. You know, by like late '90s, I got more aware of what people were saying and our responsibility towards our audience to project that. But I mean, if you know, if somebody was nasty on the mic, they could be saying it could shoot 50 people and kill 100 people, but if they did it creatively and
But they only shot 50 and killed 100?
That's, you know, like,
Those dumb. Although they
with the
stabbed too.
hands.
They were stabbing too.
stabbings and strangulation.
Oh, God.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, all
I'm just saying,
right.
like,
There you go.
who
All
is
right,
the
all right.
strangulation?
Cool
part?
G Rap was you know, he's a genius, right?
Right.
I'm
He's actually
may
the
not have-
cool genius of rap.
Yeah,
That's what the
fact.
G
I might
stands
not have
for.
always agreed with what he was saying, but he presented it so
welcome.
intelligently. Like
Laura.
had to appreciate the craft. That's what I was always doing. I was
Now, so
appreciating
at the
craft.
same time that Stretch was playing, you know, Thug 'Em Out Radio every week, you go and do Fondle 'Em and do your own super indie label, which, by the way, those records now are incredibly valuable.
Final predates the you know, extreme thugged out.
I guess you're right. I guess it was a little bit before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it
I was
continued
putting
for
out
a
records
few
in
years.
'95. Yeah,
Yeah.
I did records from '95 to about 2000.
And I didn't
2001.
And speaking
that-
of not
hold on,
aging
but-
well, speaking of not aging well,
What? Excuse me?
the name of the label?
I was like, the music's great.
I don't even like when people interview me.
You don't even say that. I'm sorry.
I did an
It just glosses over that
autobiographical
one.
documentary, and I didn't even include
The name
that I
of
had
the
a record
label.
label in
But
the
there was
90s.
such good music on it. I mean, and
Oh, thank you. I appreciate
and
that. MF Doom
and
is like-
MF Doom. I mean, like you're a big part of MF Doom being MF
Listen,
Doom.
everything
Not
can't be
I'm a
perfect,
big part.
man.
I released his first album.
Yeah, that's-
you
that's-
know.
that's-
And Doom recorded some of those demos in Stretch's room.
And
so-
you
Not
add-
just demos. He recorded a lot of those songs.
Well, I mean, the songs on his album were demos.
well, they cease to become demos once they come out.
I know, but they
here
were
we
demo.
go.
You know,
All
guys,
right.
Here we go. Calm down.
Stretch and Bob broke up again in Hot
and
97.
You know, we parted ways in that room right there.
It can happen
In that,
again.
yes.
No, like-
Should we go in there and talk?
Yo, you guys want to do something?
It's like a scene of the crime.
Yeah, we should have a hug out in that room.
Bring it full circle.
Just go to that room and just hug for 5 minutes.
And also, but Bob, on the air, I also want to give you credit too. You also ad-libbed in my opinion, my favorite Doom song of all time.
Rhymes Like Dimes.
Rhymes Like Dimes is the
Thank you,
best,
man. I
most
appreciate it.
playable.
All right.
Like you could play that record out, and then your ad-libs are the fucking. I mean, what does mashed potatoes really mean?
I don't know. You know,
Ask James Brown.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you were getting your James Brown on.
I was inspired while we were recording our new album, No Request, and Stretch went to the bathroom at one point, and I snuck in the booth and I did background vocals.
Really? Yeah. Did you keep them?
Yeah, we kept them for Que Se Sepa. It's our rendition of a Roberto Rowena Afro-Latin like kicker.
Amazingness.
Yeah, it's bananas. So we're real proud of that song. But on stage, you know, we both on the mic. People been asking us like, "Yo, what do you do on stage?" You know,
Good question.
Yeah.
We'll see on Friday night.
Stand
at the
off.
Comedy
Thursday.
Cellar.
What you need to know is you
that
don't
was me
make a
talking last
request.
week. We're going to be
Oh.
at Gramercy on Thursday.
no doubt.
And we know what we're going to do.
We know what we do. Well,
Yeah,
we
'cause
had
if-
a lot of fun on stage this past when we did Kennedy Center on Friday. You know, come on, man. We hosted a radio show.
Center.
We did podcasts with NPR. You know, we know. I've hosted like 200, 300 events since 1990. I mean, so we on the mic, we just bugging out, talking to the crowd, talking to our band. You know, snapping on each other, and then we play light percussion. I go out there and dance a little bit. And
But there is something I think for a young fan of hip hop, looking at you guys and seeing how you crafted your brand and maintained your credibility and also maintained your integrity, right, around the music and what hip hop means to you that people could pay attention to. Because I think, you know, a lot of times when people who are fans of music or musicians are trying to figure out their path, they think they just got to chase, you know, whatever's popular. You know what I mean? To the
Sure,
mainstream.
sure.
And there's something to be said. And we know a lot of people who have done their thing in a artsy-fartsy way and created a living for themselves. You know what I'm saying? You know, being in these spaces, the Kennedy Center isn't a space that you get into just because you're popular.
No, no doubt.
Your curation and craftsmanship has to be, you know, revered by critics, et cetera, et cetera.
Word.
You know what I mean? So I think that that's something that is valuable.
Well, also, I think the crazy part is that both of you guys have managed to have such a specific lane, and both of you have done it so well. I mean, you've never worked. Neither of you have ever worked. No, I mean that. No, I mean that to say in the same way I've never worked. Like this isn't a job. Like you making
You
movies
do what you
about,
love. He
You
said
making
you do
movies
what
about
you love.
45s and your radio show and going to do concerts and you DJing all over the world. Like y'all have managed to do that.
And sending me ESPN tennis flyers as your birthday celebration. What was that? I should put that on Instagram.
That was a Sports Illustrated.
Sports Illustrated, excuse me.
Stretch Illustrated.
Yo, you never seen Stretch Illustrated?
No.
But he's a tennis. You know, he's a tennis guy.
Yeah.
This guy plays tennis for real. You guys should meet up and play.
Well, I don't think I need that. I don't need that action from Stretch. I'm not a good tennis player. I
Yeah.
play, but I'm not good.
Yeah, we can't
Are
do it.
you still good?
We can't do it.
You're still on
He
it.
won't invite me to play. I've been like, yo, let me roll with you. He like, nah.
Like you're
he
you're
thinks
you're
I'm a
still
scrub.
stroking the ball for real.
Oh, hey, yo.
You're still stroking balls. You're still stroking balls out here on a weekly.
I'm playing as good tennis as I ever have in my life.
Wow, as I ever have.
AKA I'll bust your ass.
Yeah.
Just say
AKA
it.
Bust Your
Just say
Ass
it.
Radio. AKA
Just say it.
www.gofuckyourself,
Yeah.
But it's
Just
funny
say
though
it.
because Bob's always had that basketball lane. But the time that we were on the radio, like I stopped playing tennis when I was like 18. Started doing the radio when I was like 19. So like this is like another chapter in my life that Bob's has never really witnessed. But we're gonna try to combine basketball and tennis to a Stretch and Bob like charity event at some point.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
That's fire.
No,
on,
but
the
it's-
on the court with Stretch and Bob, tennis court, basketball
Exactly.
court. Boom, boom.
He's gonna
dope.
try
I
to
like
take credit
that.
for that.
Stretch and Bob Illustrated.
No.
No, I don't want any money. I just want my name.
Yeah. No, or even if you don't, he'll just talk about it every day.
That's
you know,
right.
I actually,
Yeah.
in conversation, am the one that said. But no, I just think it's a really cool story that you guys managed from doing this thing. Like, there are other people that we know who they weren't as iconic as Stretch and Bob, but that were doing radio shows and doing cool things in the 90s and putting out records, whatever it was. And they faded into doing whatever other shit they did, you know? You guys have managed to turn this into a 30-year run of a career. It's pretty cool.
I appreciate that. We also we're constantly like reinventing ourselves, right? So, sure, we did the '90s show, and we each of us sort of departed from the '90s hip hop space without like turning our back to it, but just progressing forward, right? 2015, we released a film which we co-produced. Stretch was, you say we don't work like. Stretch
That
went,
was work. That
Stretch
was work.
went hard to book Jay-Z, Nas.
Yeah,
that was
part-
like an
that part's
18-month
work.
chase,
That part's
right,
work.
to get them on camera.
Who was the hardest?
for our film.
Who was the hardest one?
Nas.
Or
harder than Hov?
or Eminem?
No. M wasn't hard. Once we had
Locked
everyone
in.
locked in, and Paul
Yeah.
was like, "I'm making it happen." Nas was like, that was like maybe like 16 months of, not calling every month, but
Nas
I-
is
like
Nas, he doesn't
literally,
like
I was
to-
going to
But
parties.
not because he didn't want to.
No,
Like
No, I would go
told,
to events I knew Nas would be at. So like Pharrell's Grammy party, I went there just because I knew Nas would be there, and that was like maybe the second or third time that I'd seen him to talk about this and be like, "Yo, what's up, OG?" I was like, "Nas." I'm like, "Cool, not here really to party, but
I need you to come
still
in.
want to
I'm
do
gonna bother
I
you,
need you to come in.
Still want to interview. He's like, "Oh, you still need to do that?" I was like, "Well, yeah,
You're
kind
important,
of
man.
important." Yeah, I'm like, "We haven't done it yet." He's like, "Yeah, call me." I was like, "No, I'm not gonna call you. Like, you gotta like let your people know." And it's just that happened like 3 or 4 times where I had to just like track him down, and finally it happened.
What about Jay?
Jay was challenging, but at the same time, once he sat down with us, he gave us like 3 times as much time as his executive assistant.
they
told
told
us he would
10
have.
minutes, and he sat with us for like 45 minutes on camera, and then like another 5-10 minutes just like, yo, where'd you get those tapes from? Like
Right, just being a hip hop.
As a
nerd.
fan.
yeah,
Yeah.
just bugging,
Yeah.
just bugging. So it was dope. But
And,
let me-
and same with Nas. Like he had an incredible time.
Once you got him,
Yeah.
right?
let me share that, like, doing a film is sure is fun, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
They're
work.
basically
and-
saying you disrespected him when you said
No,
that.
No, and just and doing this album, we're still independent artists,
See?
right?
You felt disrespected.
we booked Ebro.
Yeah.
We reached out to the brother, yo, can we come? I emailed you, I emailed Laura,
Right.
we had Giles Peterson, yo, can we come up on BBC? You know what I'm saying? We hustling. We out here hustling.
But
We-
I think that the sentiment is, and this is for all of us, we're doing something that we love. And
Yeah.
yes,
Oh, no
there
doubt.
are hard
And-
times, but it ain't like people out here who lost their dream or their dream got deferred somehow, or
Right.
you
Or
know
people
what I mean,
with a boss that is a
piece of shit
pain in the
ass.
ass.
Just you just
Wait, what-
going
are we-
in
this is
slumped
not-
over
this is-
every day.
we're not on the radio right now, obviously.
No, this is
we're
recorded.
Cursing.
Yeah.
You've seen that
You do a
machine.
boop. What do you do?
Yeah, mute. I like a mute. I'm a fan of a mute.
Oh,
if there's
sometimes,
multiple curses.
sometimes knowing us,
I might
no
just
one
let it
does
fly.
anything. It just goes.
I might
So-
just let it fly.
And then we
I'm
just
good with
gotta
that.
pray that no one
Is this
heard
gonna
it.
air tonight? Today?
This will be on the internet today and then air tomorrow.
Oh, word.
Yeah,
Dope.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Amazing. Thank you.
But yeah, it's just, I mean, like,
That's amazing.
don't get me wrong. When the alarm clock goes off, it feels like a job. But then when you get here and you're not delivering bread, you're sitting here talking about, what hip hop thing happened yesterday.
And no
why-
disrespect to people who deliver bread. Your bread's amazing. We love your
Word.
bread.
Well, I think all of them would say it's a hard job. I don't think any of
Yes.
them are like, when I was a kid, I was just like, I need to deliver that bread, and every day's a dream come true. I think they're working hard for their money.
That's right.
We get up here and we're like, Mac Miller's album's out today. Oh my God, let's play the new Eminem 7 times in a row. That's not a job. Like that's just straight, an amazing gift. Now I'm guessing, of all the things you've done though, was the movie the most work like? Like, no, this is really, I'm putting in hours now to get this done.
I mean, I directed 3 films, right? And after the third one, I told Stretch, he was like, "Yo, what's the next one?" I was like, "Nah."
No, you said after the second one.
Actually,
hours,
you're I'm
you
bugging.
said.
That's right.
You're
That's
like,
right.
I'm not doing another film.
Yeah,
and then we were on an airplane coming back from Europe after doing a screening. It may have been London. I'm not sure. And you're sitting down in your seat. I walked up because we don't sit next to each other on planes because we had to. We need a little bit of downtime.
I respect it.
And I walked over to you. I was like, "Yo, what's up, Bob?" You're like, "Yo, I got it." You got what? I got my next film. I see it. I was like, I guess he's going back in.
So the third film was Rock Rubber 45s, and it was tremendous amount of work. And when you're doing indie films, there's no guarantee that you're gonna even break even. So it's like the risk factor is high, the stress level is high. The payoff is that you affect people greatly. I mean, our film Stretch Bobbito, Radio That Changed Lives, got licensed to Netflix at a time when they expanded to like 190 plus countries. So all of a sudden, me and Stretch are getting booked in Mumbai, India. We're getting recognized in Saudi Arabia. Like, it's insane how many new fans learned about us who love hip hop, right? Like diehards, but they just had no clue about us. And they're like, yo, that's the backstory to how Nas, Biggie, Wu, Big Pun, all these people got on. Like, wow.
Well, because in our world, when you grow up like a New York East Coast hip hop head, you assume everyone knows the entire story. But if you grew up in LA and your whole life was a different kind of hip hop,
a different story.
You may know the names and have seen the namespace, but you don't get the story. You don't
Yeah,
understand the
if
impact.
you're 25 years old and you love those artists, but you don't really know the stories.
Yeah, you're like, what's people used to listen to radio shows to hear new music?
They
Like,
still
that's-
do. Matter of fact, they love radio so much they call things radio that's not even radio.
It's crazy. Radio does get a lot. I know.
mixtapes.
Radio gets hammered like, yo, nobody listens to radio. Meanwhile, something's a radio that's not a radio.
Well, how about this? How about there's an entire medium that everyone's so excited about, and the only thing they're excited about is like, listen, it's just like radio. Like podcasting as a medium, before we know it, is just going to be full-fledged radio. It's a full
It's just on demand.
right. It's on demand. And it doesn't, and like everything else, not corporate. It doesn't. Even though it's as
It's
corporate
not
as
corporate?
radio's
Yeah,
ever
right.
been. I mean, it's the most corporate thing on planet Earth, but it seemed like an alternative to what we do here. You know
What are you
I'm saying?
looking for there? Water. You need water? Yeah. I have water. You don't
I'm
have.
sick though. I don't want to.
Yeah, you don't want to just
Shout out
pass
to
the 40.
That's all.
40
That's
ounce
what you guys
water.
rock here.
Tap the
Just
40 and twist the cap.
No,
son.
no water for the guests.
I mean, we're still at Hot 97, bro. You
One
forgot
step
where
at a
you
time. We're
were.
gonna get you something though.
We'll hook you up.
If you was
Up
at
the block.
iHeart, you might get some water. If you was at Apple, bruh, snacks. The green room's incredible. You'd have water. I'd have
the snack
assistants.
game's
I get a
bars.
massage.
Yes,
I can get a
you
massage
have-
at Apple.
You might walk out with some AirPods. You never know.
No, they'll come bring you they'll bring you a dog that you can sit and pet while
Oh
you're
yeah,
here.
yeah. What a comfort animal.
Therapy dog.
you got-
Therapy
Yeah,
dog.
there you go.
Yeah, hold on.
Feeling that.
Look, Stretch and Bob have an album. It is called No Requests. If you're a music fan and love hip hop, you should definitely spend some time with it. If you want to see them live Thursday, Gramercy right here in
Gramercy
Manhattan.
Theater. Yep, we got
It's nearly sold out, I believe. So don't wait. Don't walk up to the door to get tickets. Go online and cop. Ahora.
Thanks,
Stretch and
guys.
Bob, give it up one time, man. The legends.
All right.
Thank you.
Peace.
Good shit, guys.
Thank you.
Good shit, guys.
Thank you.